All right, good evening. Welcome to the February 10th, 2015 meeting of the Manchester Town Council. First order of business, approval of January 13th minutes, which you should have in front of you.
I make a motion, we approve the January 13 minutes.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Very good. Two items on the Treasurer's Report. We'll handle the December 2014 Treasurer's Report first. Motion to receive.
I'll make a motion to receive the December 2014 Treasurer's Report.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, and then for January 2015, we don't have the Treasurer's Report ready yet, but we do have the check register, so you should have a copy of the check register. In front of you, do have a motion to receive the check register.
I'll make a motion, we receive the January 2015 check register.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right, good. Mayor's report. A couple of items here. First, it's February. We haven't had any real significant snow events. We did have an ice event was it last night. Yeah, sneak up on us. The days all blend together. Sneak up on us kind of. I know we've had some, I'll call false alarms where we're going to get 6 inches, 10 inches of snow, and it winds up to be nothing. And then last night, I guess the reports weren't that it was going to be that significant, but even a 1/16 of an inch of ice that comes up pretty quick can cause problems. So Steve and his crew really did a great job. I know the chief was helping to get the word out amongst the communities and the electronic media. I don't think we had any serious injuries or incidents in town, but definitely was a great job, and we were well ahead of the county crew and the state crew, again on that. Second, the Charlotte Collette Scholarship should now be out there. Our student representative informs us that it is in the schools. It's due here to town May 1st, and then we'll meet afterward and see if it makes sense for the three of us to be on it again, or if somebody wants to replace me, maybe. Finally, so we got two more things. Last week I attended a day-and-a-half conference, the Maryland Mayors Association through MML down in Annapolis. I was I was really impressed. Well put together program that really focused around community policing and emergency management. Brought some things back both to the chief and to the town administrator. We have a few things that we're looking into in terms of, making sure that we have our T's crossed and our I's dotted. If something were to happen, I was pleasantly surprised at some of the questions that I didn't know. These guys really on top of it and already knew those answers. So, I think that's a positive thing. Coming up, the next MML, training session, I know we have some dinners coming up, is Ocean City. So for those of you that are aware of those trainings and have been before, there's definitely some meaningful things to go to there. Which rolls into, there's an article in the paper today on open meetings laws. I'll summarize here. Was it 60 or 65% of municipalities are saying haven't complied with a requirement to not they violated open meetings laws, but not have registered and named who has taken trainings with the Attorney General of the state of Maryland. So the good news is here in Maryland, I know I've taken the training and have become certified, and some other folks up here have had access to those at some of the trainings. We have our professional staff who's taken the open meetings laws. So we will figure out, I think there's something systemic with the reporting mechanism of 65% of the municipalities out there, or the boards out there, haven't turned a name into the Attorney General, though the Attorney General doesn't seem to have much. What the paper said was there's no real penalty or mechanism for enforcing or figuring out who's done it and who hasn't. So we'll figure out what our obligation is to let them know. In the meantime, if you haven't taken the training, really look for the next one that's available through MML or online, and and get that done. So, but again, we haven't violated any open meetings rules. It's just we need to make sure that we're up to speed on the compliance with reporting who's taken it from each board. That's all I have. Any questions for me? No, turn it over to the town administrator.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We'll go ahead and start with the January 2015 Administrative Report. There's been no change on either the Sheets project or the SHA project. An update on our town hall and police department. Survey work is being completed on site. Talked to the designer today, and our mechanical, electrical, and structural plans are approximately 65% complete, and it appears that this project will be going to bid the beginning of April, so that's good news. Under grants, Kelly and I met with Jim and Jared Schumacher on February the 3rd. We discussed the status of our different grants, and you can see them down through there. A lot of them are under review currently. We did apply, and we submitted our notice of intent to the second round of funding through the Civil War Heritage Trails Grant. Also, during our budget meeting, we talked about recycling containers, and we instructed them to look into possibly different grant opportunities to fund those. Under miscellaneous items, I attended the WRCC meeting on January the 28th, and discussion was on the county water and sewer master plan update. Staff met with a representative from Bob Ward Homes to review the final plans on January the 29th, and this in regards to Manchester Farm Section 7, which Councilperson Black, I think that's going to be coming up next Tuesday. Also, something not on your list there is the update to the employee job descriptions. I've received all of them back. I'm in the process of reviewing them, and once I get them reviewed, Councilperson Black has volunteered her time to assist Kelly and I, where we can bring in each individual employee and go over his or her job description, so we can update those. Moving right along, we'll go into the January Public Works Report. You have in front of you the monthly water and wastewater report for January. Due to the cold weather we experienced earlier, we had 6 homes freeze up and 3 involved broken pipes within the home. Some of these homes are actually homes that people had walked away from. They were in foreclosure and we didn't know about it. Some of the homes people left to go on vacation and the heat went off. They come back to frozen pipes. The wastewater, under wastewater, we did rebid the pipe relining project, and bids are due back on March the 9th. The camera work was completed at Manchester Farm Section 6, and this was in regards to the blockage which occurred on December the 20th. Under NPDS and stormwater, as I've been emailing you folks, it appears that the stormwater management facility at the skate park may begin in late spring or early summer of 2016. So we are preparing ourselves to move the skate park to another location. I sent you some figures on the cost of a blacktop pad, and also sent you some preliminary figures on some ramps. I have not yet contacted POS yet to see if they can assist in the funding. This was a project that was done probably, I believe, Kelly, 15 years ago under POS, and I'll go knocking on their door to see if they can assist us in funding on that. Under maintenance roads and parks, you did hear Mayor Warner speak about the snow events. We did experience 6 snow sleet events in January. We have started some preliminary work on the wash bay project. The springtime road resurfacing bids will be on the street in mid-March. We've also been working on removing a number of hazardous trees to the rear of the ball field. And unfortunately, Ken Black, one of our maintenance crew members, will be leaving full-time employment with the town. He's going to pursue another career path, and we wish Ken all the best of luck. Any questions from the
Steve, the personnel policy, as we go through, I guess changes are going to be recommended with job descriptions and maybe some other things. I read through the entire document the other day, and I got some questions and some thoughts. What's the plan for us settling all that? Coming to an agreement on what's going to be changed?
What I plan on doing is, we're working on the job descriptions now, and then we'll get into the actual personnel policy. Once we get sections complete, I'd like to have a work session where, the mayor and the council can sit down, we can review what we've done, if you have any questions. But I want to take little chunks at a time, so we don't get bogged down with a lot of things happening at one time. So I think, Councilperson Black and I talked, I think this is a good step in the right direction, and once we get that completed, then we can start with the individual sections.
Okay. If we, the council, are not able to agree, how do we settle that? How do we resolve that?
That would be up to you. We could probably, I'm sure we could work out a solution along the way. So I don't think there's anything, there's things that we have to modernize. We definitely, we want to take a hard look at our drug and alcohol policy. That's one of the areas we want to look at. So those are the kind of things that we're doing in.
Okay.
Anything else for the town administrator? All right. The police report. Chief?
Good evening, everybody. Police report's going to be pretty short tonight. We did handle 59 calls for service. Council, if you could strike the word burglary at the top of your page, that is a theft. It was actually 2 crimes of theft, both of them were minor, one had an arrest. Out of the 59 calls for service, there were 9 arrests. 1 was for stolen auto, 2 were for CDS to include heroin, and the biggest case going right now is counterfeiting. We are on a counterfeiting ring that we're pretty sure is starting here in Manchester, and unfortunately, now Secret Service is finding bills all the way down the East Coast. One of the hardest areas they hit was the outlets in Gettysburg. So we're working with them, we're getting ready to do search warrants with that deal, so that's coming together. Ron Gardner's been behind that case, and he's doing a pretty good job. State's attorneys are on board, Secret Service is on board, so hopefully we'll be bringing that to an end. We had stores, the biggest hit store was Sheets, Miller's, and Spargo's. I don't think Dutch Corner or any other stores got hit, but they were the 2 biggest stores in our area, and that consisted of 20. I gotta tell you, the guy did a pretty good job. The money was well made, it is well made. He's pretty consistent with the serial numbers, he's pretty consistent with his coloring between the state seal, or actually the U.S. seal, and the serial numbers, which we both know need to match. We did continue traffic enforcement. Primary areas were Charmel and Southwestern. There was 61 traffic stops, 20 state citations, 41 warnings. And that's about it. If you're interested in here, I do have the numbers for the countywide crime, if you would like to hear that. If not, it's no big deal.
Yeah, do you mind giving us a quick recap on, even if it's not just reading the numbers, but
These are
just kind of
UCR
tell the stories?
related crimes. Westminster, the city of Westminster, they had a total of 832 uniform crime reports. The biggest crimes there were 630 of them were theft. They had 72 aggravated assaults and 16 robberies.
Is this for calendar year 2014?
This is 2014.
Okay.
Tawnytown had 3 aggravated assaults, 54 thefts, and that's probably the most significant crime there. They had 18 burglaries with a grand total of 78 uniform crime reports. Sykesville had 30 for a total, all 30 were thefts. Hampstead had 78, 49 were thefts, 11 were aggravated assaults, 1 was a rape. Manchester had 37 total, 25 thefts, 12 burglary. And then how it works is when the Carroll County Sheriff's Office puts their numbers out, they do not include municipalities. So the grand total for the county, for everything outside of all the municipalities mentioned, was 1,114 total crimes. 16 were auto theft, 549 were thefts, 318 were burglaries, 199 were aggravated assaults. They had 12 robberies and 20 rapes. So all in all, Manchester per population is looking pretty good. As far as we go with our crime, it's definitely heading in the right direction. When you look at the heroin issue, that's a big issue across the county. Patrol Area 5, which Councilman Pacelli, what area is that?
That's in the Westminster metropolitan area.
That's the highest problem for the heroin problem when you really look at it. And I believe Councilman Black, we talked about this last, I think it's Tawnytown. So we had 2 overdoses related to heroin, none of them were death. They had 26 deaths across the county. So it's still a problem across the county. All the leaders in law enforcement were definitely on board. If you would have read in the paper today, there was a guy by the name of McCormick that was arrested for prescription drugs. This is his 3rd arrest. We started his first arrest in Manchester. I immediately got the drug task force involved, and they ended up locking him up 2 more times to include this time. He's definitely a big problem with prescription drugs. Each time he has in the hundreds of these pills, and we all know that's a pathway to heroin addiction. So we're pretty much on, I'm confident our plans are going to come together. I'm confident all the law enforcement leaders are on the same page, and hopefully we start to see less ODs in the future.
So, Chief, you say we arrested him the first time, that was his first?
Yeah, we got information. Hampstead started the information. They passed the intel on to us. My myself and Officer Kazmaier were sitting in the back, and one other officer, we spotted him coming back from Pennsylvania. There was also a complaint on his driving. He was intoxicated.
Right.
We locked him up, drug dog hit on his car. We furthered the search. We got probable cause there. That led to 2 search warrants. And we got, what was it, Jeff? Combined, it was like over 1,000 pills, I think. Correct. 1,000 pills and several $1,000s. So then we turned him over to the Drug Task Force to further the investigation. He made bail, and they ended up following up with 2 more cases back to back. So hopefully.
So is this where like he got out and did the same thing again, got out and did the same thing again?
Yes.
So what do the laws look like in terms of, and I don't know, I mean, the enforcement, if you're going to continue to kind of,
That all comes in with.
Do the
that all
same thing
comes
over and
with
over
the
again.
State's attorney's whole repeat offender process. And what you gotta do is you gotta focus on the ones who are truly part of the problem, not the solution. And you gotta up the ante on those individuals. So it'll come together.
so I saw a quick chart of some of the countywide statistics, and I can't quote this, and I certainly didn't audit the math, but it sounds like for 2014, I mean, we're definitely heading in the right direction, where we talked last month about where we had a 27% drop in reportable crime in Manchester, and I think that we're now, you know, the town of Manchester really only encompasses about 1.5% of the total reportable crimes in Carroll County. So for a population, I know we're not as big as Westminster, but for an area where people are living in the same spot, for us to have that few reportable crimes really is, I think speaks well to the job you guys are doing. Anything else to the chief? All right. So we just got a policy. I know Kelly emailed this out earlier. We'd like to commend the town administrator, Steve Miller, and Steve Corbell for their work on this. Would one of you like to give a brief update here for the record on what this is and why this is necessary?
I'll go ahead and start, and Steve can add to it. Again, I appreciate the work that Steve Corbell did on this. I was looking back into our access to public records policy, and it surprised me, our policy was never updated since 1991. And I gave Mr. Corbell the task of updating our public information record and, tweak the policy that we currently have, add some items that we needed added, especially in our wastewater and water departments, and he did a fine job, and I appreciate that. Steve, you want to go a little bit of detail with that? Sure. Very good.
What I did is I took the 91 policy, and some of the references were outdated. So I went into the Maryland State Book and changed those, put the regulation itself, section 10, 613B. Added, like Steve said, that a denial would be if they were trying to get the wastewater and water records. That is not allowed. And added what a public record is. There really wasn't any definition of what a public record was, so that came directly out of the Maryland State Book. The other thing I added that we didn't have is 2 references. One was, what is denial records? And Maryland lists a whole bunch of them. And just in case somebody came in and the girls up front, somebody said, I want to see a record on hospital records. I don't know why here, but that's something you just don't show. And the other thing is, we didn't have a list of immediate records. Immediate records is something that you wouldn't have to go to the files and try to dig it out. It would be something immediately available. Somebody comes in, they sign a piece of paper, say, I'd like to see this. We show it to them, they sign it, that they saw it, and that's it. And there's a list of 6 things. That's about it.
So the immediate records, for those of you that are following at home, immediate records, council minutes, board minutes, commission minutes, town ordinances, tapes of various boards and commission meetings, and the town budget.
That's correct.
And then there's a pretty extensive list. Did we have a denial list before?
No.
So, obviously things, Mr. Quilbell, or, referenced hospital records, things on here, though, personal information or MVA administration, surveillance images, that could be things from police, obviously emergency management plans or things around the water and the wastewater. So, I think with this being a policy, we could act on it tonight if the board feels like you'd like to digest this. I don't know that it's an emergency. We could digest it for a month and put it on the agenda for March. It's really up to you guys.
I'm okay moving forward on, I read it earlier, and, I mean, I think it's a solid, necessary document.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm
I
fine.
agree.
Fine. So this being a one-night thing, any questions or comments from the community? We'll take them on this sort of out of order, but none is an issue. All right. Well, with no issues, if everybody's comfortable with it, then we can entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we adopt the updated rules and regulations for access to public records document.
I second the motion.
Motion and a second. Any further comment? Hearing none, all's in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Questions, comments from the community? Usually when the phone rings. All right, hearing none, we'll move on to committee reports. Councilman Smith?
We did not have a meeting. It's rescheduled for next month, so I don't have a report.
Okay. Councilman Black?
Planning and zoning did meet on January 20th, and we did a pretty extensive review of the Western Abbey, the amended site plan review. So that's gone back, and they're going to work on those revisions. And as Steve said, we'll be looking at the Manchester Farm 7 next time.
Councilman Bocelli?
I have nothing to report outside of the next MAMA meeting is February 19th at 12 o'clock at Dutch Corner.
Councilman Howe?
The Parks meeting was canceled last night due to ice, so rescheduled for next Monday.
Councilman Wilder?
I've mentioned the joint use agreement between the town and the Northcott Rec Council in the past. Steve, if you have a few minutes after the meeting, I've already received a lot of your comments on the original the agreement. Ryan had a couple thoughts that he wanted to share with us. Then at some point, I'll be able to put all that together and get it out for everybody's review. Hopefully shortly before baseball starts. The other thing I want to mention, and I brought this up informally last week, and I want to again thank Mr. Stewart for his inquiry on adding the Pledge of Allegiance to our meetings. I don't expect a decision tonight, but I wanted to throw that out there for consideration, so we can decide tonight or we can decide next meeting, but just something I think would be very important.
So, I think it's been done sometimes. It's really up to you guys, right? We can administratively just do it. I don't know that the business meeting agenda necessarily has to be voted on. We can vote if you guys would like to vote and say, okay, well, let's do this. Or we can just add it to the agenda.
I think we should just do it.
Yes.
Then we'll just do it and we'll put it on the agenda beginning of March for, call to order, and then we'll say the pledge.
Thank you again, Mr. Stewart.
Okay. Ms. Singer.
I just wanted to make an announcement. This Friday is our basketball teams play North Carroll again for the second time this season, so that's normally a pretty big game. Our girls' team is also still in the running for counties, so everybody should come out and watch.
And this is at Manchester Valley this Friday, right?
Yes, it is.
So,
Girls at 5:30, guys at 7.
right, I think they adjusted that schedule so that the two varsity teams played back-to-back. I think the girls' varsity teams had some big wins lately. The South Carolina, Westminster, or something like that. So, yeah, that'd be great if everybody, some folks can make it out.
That's Saturday. Saturday. That's Saturday.
Saturdays out.
You're going to ask that while you're on TV? You're going to ask that while you're on TV?
That's on the record now.
Right.
You're done.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'll enlighten Heidi of that if she didn't watch.
Pretty much did.
Yeah, you're done. Wow. Poor thing.
A couple of reminders. We have budget meeting February 25th, which is a Wednesday. I believe that is a change from the prior, right? So we changed those to fit some availability. Next council meeting Tuesday, March 10th. As of right now, I'm slated to be not here due to work, so Councilman Waller will run that meeting. If something changes, then obviously I'll let you guys know when I'll be here. Anything else for this board?
For the budget work session, we left it at 7:30. I don't remember if we talked about 7 o'clock or not. Either one's fine for me, but I just was,
I think either one's fine for me. We can,
It's okay with me, but I thought we had changed it to Tuesdays or Thursdays.
we did make a change.
We
I
did.
don't remember what the change was.
We made some kind of change.
Right, so I was
All
gonna
right, so
say.
is it
We
Tuesday?
changed it to
Yeah.
Tuesdays
I updated
last
my
time.
calendar. So it was
So,
Wednesdays, you
I
couldn't do
was right.
Wednesdays, right?
Right.
We gotta
We
change
changed
it.
it to
Yes.
Tuesdays, but
So-
what
All
time?
right.
The next two meetings, we're going to change to Tuesdays, right?
Right. And what time?
I'm good with any time.
Can we leave them at 7:30?
Sure.
So if we move to Tuesday, can we leave them
That's
at
when I brought
7:30?
it up. Okay.
Okay.
Is that the 25th? Okay.
24th?
I have it as the
It's
24th.
the 24th.
All right, so that's wrong on here, so change
So I
that.
thought-
Okay.
Tuesday, February 25th at 7:30.
I knew we changed it.
I can remember.
All right, so we got
I
that.
was thinking, okay, we're golden.
Anything else for this board?
Nope.
Take a motion to adjourn.
And I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Good night.